Last week we had our first cameo of Tracy Beaker returning to the screens of the dumping ground in years. It was very short-lived, but nevertheless, we at least got to see Tracy Beaker on screen, and I am so here for it. But what did this cameo reveal about Tracy Beaker, and what did it reveal about the dumping ground characters today? Because I do believe this cameo showed very clearly that the dumping ground has now left the Tracy Beaker connection train for good. The cameo was very simple. The kids had set up a car wash to earn some extra money, and Tracy ends up rolling up in her red truck. She says the iconic "bog off" and pays the kids, then leaves. But the most interesting part to me about this whole cameo was the kids did not recognize Tracy at all. They didn't recognize bog off, and even when seeing the personalized number plate, they had no clue who she was. Considering the last cameo Tracy had in the dumping ground was for Mike's wedding, where an entire two-parter was dedicated to her return, it shows where the characters and show's priorities are now. For the fact that this was so small and literally was a cameo rather than a big return, which I know a lot of us were hoping for. This proves to me that the dumping ground has gone so far away from its Tracy Beaker origins that it is now a completely new show and doesn't use the history of those connections to create lore and impact in the show. Even after Tracy Beaker Returns had ended, the dumping ground and its characters were always so connected to Tracy, from the same cast staying on in the same care home, so then moving to Ashton Ridge, but the cast still making references to Tracy and her impact on them, to characters passing down the Tracy Beaker Peter Pan book each time they left to keep the memory of Tracy Beaker alive, to this legend of Tracy being embedded in characters that had never even met her, like Floss for example. But since then, the show has lost all its remaining characters who had ever met or interacted with Tracy, and it looks like when Ashton Ridge burned down, the memories and legends of Tracy Beaker burned with it. Because Ashton Ridge was full of links back to Tracy Beaker. It had Tracy Beaker books in the loft, it had paintings of Elm Tree House, we know Mike had pictures of all of his old care kids in this house, and with that, Tracy will have lost all of her connections to the dumping ground too. We know at the end of the Beaker Girls, she literally burned all of her care files, and so with no one that she knows still being at Ashton Ridge, and for her deciding to move on from the past, I doubt she would have even heard about Ashton Ridge's burning down, and wouldn't know anything about Porter's Lodge, or anything about these new care workers or new care kids. The only remaining connection is the Peter Pan book, which we saw Finn give to Erin in Series 11, and here Erin does technically meet Tracy Beaker, and you can sort of see in her eyes that there is something familiar here, but she doesn't say anything about it. And so the fact that Tracy doesn't recognize the dumping ground, and the dumping ground doesn't recognize Tracy, to me says that they are now very separate. And if you are watching this show still for its history and connection to Tracy Beaker over the last 20 years, unfortunately, the dumping ground just isn't that anymore. In saying that, if you are watching this show because of how it connects to all of the characters from series 1 to 10 of the dumping ground, I'd say you won't get that now either. It also makes it clear to me that I don't think there will be ever a huge reunion for the show like we were all hoping for, with all of the old characters returning, because it's lost that history and it's lost that connection. But regardless, this cameo is so exciting for what it tells us about Tracy Beaker herself. The last time we saw her in the Beaker Girls, she was working by the beach and had her two children, Jess and Jordan, and had just got together with Peter. But here we see her in an expensive red truck with a personalized Tracy Beaker number plate, which looks epic. As a minimum, but it would likely be a lot more, her truck is a Suzuki L200, which you're looking at around $20,000 to £40,000, and her personalized number plate is likely another £5,000 as well. With Tracy leaving her time in care behind her now, and with being with Peter, I wouldn't be surprised if she is now more of a successful reporter and author, and that has enabled her to have more money and be a bit more upper middle class. I mean, even the kids say,
personalised number plate too. She was never in a place like this.
And I do love this because it shows Tracy has grown and is achieving the dreams we saw her wanting to achieve in all of the previous shows, in the story of Tracy Beaker, in Tracy Beaker Returns, in My Mum Tracy Beaker, and in the Beaker Girls, and that she has officially parted ways with the DG for good. Will Tracy Beaker ever return again? Well, Danny Harmer did tease in a behind the scenes video saying,
in fact,
might do it again someday, who knows, keep an eye out.
But I doubt it will be anything huge if she does. I even doubt if she will cameo ever again. But regardless, I really enjoyed just seeing a little cameo of Tracy Beaker, but it did establish in me that Tracy Beaker has definitely left her history with the dumping ground behind and doesn't look back anymore, and the dumping ground has parted ways with the history of Tracy Beaker as well. I'm quite sad about that, but I also understand why it's happened. What do you guys think about this? Did you enjoy this little cameo, or were you expecting a bit more, kind of like the last cameo that we got of Tracy Beaker in the dumping ground, where it was a whole two-parter dedicated to her? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments, and as always, we've been here on Gate of Theories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.